My name is Rosemarie Dunbar. I have owned the same bakery on Sycamore Street for 17 years. It is called Sunday Morning, which is the kind of name that sounded better when I was 32 and choosing it than it sounds now when I say it to ordering suppliers. I open at 7. I close at 2. I do not do dinner service. I sell bread, pastries, a rotating soup on Tuesdays and Fridays, coffee, and a few specialty items that depend on what I have in the back. I have a clientele that is largely predictable. People find a bakery, they like it, and then they come back at the same time every week until they move away or die. I know most of my regulars by their order, by the time they arrive, and by a few things about their lives that have emerged naturally over years of brief, genuine conversation. I want to tell you about one of my regulars. His name is Marcus Eller. He is 44. He has worked for the past 9 years as a sous chef at Clement's, the restaurant 2 blocks west on Sycamore, which does a fine casual dinner service that fills up every Thursday through Saturday, and a Sunday brunch that has a genuine following. He has been my customer for approximately 3 years. He comes on Saturday mornings between 8:30 and 9. He orders the same thing, 1 sourdough loaf, a croissant, and since the spring when I started making them, the rosemary focaccia. The first few months he came alone. Then he started coming with a lunch bag. Then, about 8 months in, he started coming a little earlier and a little more settled in the way that people are when they have just dropped someone off somewhere and are no longer carrying that particular weight. I did not ask. He mentioned it once, briefly, the way people mention things that are large and have become ordinary, that he had a daughter, that school drop-off was on the east side of Sycamore now. His name is Marcus. His daughter's name, which he mentioned in passing about a year into our acquaintance, is Bea. I know this because last March, on the first Saturday after the spring term started, he came in and said, "Bea wanted me to say thank you for the bread. She said to tell you it's her favorite part of Saturdays." I said, "I'll tell her she has good taste." He said, "She already knows." He left with the sourdough, the croissant, and the focaccia. I know Marcus Eller's Saturday routine in the way that a bakery owner knows her regulars' routines, not through intrusion but through the accumulated weight of ordinary proximity. He comes in, he collects his things, he says something genuine and brief. He leaves. He has never been a man who asked for anything beyond the bread. I want to tell you about a Saturday in September. The Saturday in September was 5 weeks into the school term. Marcus came in at his usual time, 8:42. I know because it was right after I started the second batch of croissants for the morning rush, and I had just set the timer. He ordered his usual. He had a specific quality that morning that I had seen on 2 or 3 prior Saturdays across the 3 years, a settled tiredness. The kind a person has not when they are sick or depleted, but when they have been consistent across a long period and are simply present with all of it. I knew why a little. I knew that Clements had recently taken on a private events contract for Friday, Saturday evenings, and that Marcus had been running both the regular dinner service and the event prep for the past 6 weeks. I knew this because he had mentioned in that brief and genuine way that the schedule was full. He was not complaining. He was not asking for anything. He was reporting, as people do who have organized their lives around consistency and do not expect the consistency to be noticed in any particular way. He paid for the bread, said, "Have a good one, Rosemarie," and was turning to leave. He did not turn to leave, because what happened next happened before he could. There are, on a given Saturday morning at Sunday Morning Bakery, somewhere between 12 and 20 people in the shop at any moment. They are a mixture. Neighborhood regulars, people coming in after a morning walk, a couple of tables occupied by people reading or working quietly, the occasional new face. They do not, as a rule, interact with each other beyond pleasantries. The man at the corner table, his name is Phillip. He has been coming since my 3rd year, and he orders the Tuesday soup on Saturdays, even when there is no Tuesday soup, and I make an exception for him. Phillip stood up. He said to Marcus, "They put you on the event Friday last week." Marcus said, "Yes." Phillip said, "My wife was at that event. She said the duck was the best thing she'd eaten in a year." Marcus said, "I'll tell the team." Phillip said, "You ran both kitchens in one night." This is when something shifted, in the particular way things shift in small spaces. A woman named Dottie Marsh, a retired school teacher who comes every Saturday without exception and always takes the second table from the window, said, "I heard about the Friday event. My neighbor's daughter was there." The man at the counter, a contractor named Joel, who I know only as Joel, said, "I eat at Clement's every other Thursday. Always the same guy running it." A young woman near the door who I did not know looked up from her laptop and said, "Are you the sous chef from the 9 o'clock Saturdays?" And when Marcus said yes, she said, "I brought my parents here last month because I said the guy who comes in on Saturdays always looks like he knows what bread should be." It lasted perhaps 4 minutes. It was not an organized tribute. It was not a plan. It was the specific thing that happens when people who share a space, who have been sharing a space in various combinations across months and years, recognize someone and say so. Marcus Eller stood at the front of Sunday Morning Bakery with his sourdough, his croissant, and his focaccia, and said very little. He said at one point, "That's kind of you all," he said. At another point, "Clement has a good team." He had the particular quality of a man processing something he had not expected. He left. Phillip sat back down and finished his coffee. I made a note to save him the last focaccia next Saturday. I want to say something, because I have run this bakery for 17 years, and I have watched a great many people come and go, and I have formed some opinions about the ones who come consistently. The regulars who keep a bakery going are not typically the people who have the most time. They are the people who have organized their lives to include it. They are the people for whom a Saturday morning sourdough and a genuine 2-minute exchange represents something they have decided is worth having. Marcus Eller has been coming in for 3 years. He has never once mentioned that the schedule was hard. He has mentioned that it was full. He has mentioned that Bia liked the bread. He has mentioned once in passing that Saturdays were good. 4 minutes on a September morning, 4 of my regulars and 1 stranger, and they said, "We see you." He came back the following Saturday at 8:42. He ordered the sourdough, the croissant, and the focaccia. He said, "That was something last week." I said, "People notice." He said, "I know. I just didn't know they said it out loud." He left. I started the second croissant batch and set the timer.